Yo. What's going on, man? Today is March the 30th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, where we're live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube as well. Coming off a rough night, man. Coming off a rough night. It's been back to back. Actually, we didn't have a play the night before, but the game of the Wednesday night was another rough night as well. I think back to back losing days. So we got to get ourselves out the mud here, man. Been loving the spots, loving the reads, and we'll jump right into it for the recap today. As always, check me out on Twitter if you're following in on YouTube and vice versa. I know I talked about a couple looks, the prop looks that I gave out yesterday, Cash. I like Jalen Duren a lot. If people put that in, but I don't include those in the recap because I don't send those out to the members. So the only thing I put in my recap is what I do send out to the members. And Jalen Duren Cash, Jalen Suggs was the best bet yesterday as well as far as a prop bet. He cashed his points early in the third quarter. But Utah team total went over, which was the last play that I gave out when Lauri Markkanen got ruled out. Orlando plus the 3 ended up being a push. And if you got the 1.5, you got a loser. And Golden State wet the bed in the second quarter. They lose the second quarter and don't cover the first half. And that really had me frustrated if I'm being honest with you guys. And then Phoenix, just so you guys know, I'm not betting Phoenix probably for the rest of the season. I can't get this team right. And I'm done trying. Put them in the same category with the Lakers. Not betting on Phoenix. I can't stomach the pain of the Phoenix losses, man. This is supposed to be a super team. And they got smoked yesterday. We'll just leave it at that. So 1-2 in 1 day overall with the push. We lose about a little over a unit and a half, which brings us back down to just over 40 units on the season. We were up almost 42. So definitely looking to get that back. It's only 3 games on the board for today. So we're just going to jump right into it, man. First game up, we got the Pelicans at the crib. Look like they're getting 6 points now as a home dog. And you got the Boston Celtics coming in town off back-to-back losses as well. So looking at this game, you get a Boston team that looks like they're gonna be fully healthy. Drew Holiday first game back after missing, I think, 6 games was that last game in Atlanta, and they lost outright as a 15.5 point, 16.5 point favorite. So they'll get everybody back. I think Horford is the only person that's listed as probable. So 1 day rest for the Boston Celtics. This is the 5th game of a 6-game road trip. Back-to-back losses, like I said, is double-digit favorites in both of those games. And now they're 8-2 straight up, still 7-3 against the spread in their last 10, which is great. Boston is, they're still an elite basketball team. Don't get it twisted. On the Pelican side, Jose Alvarado and Brandon Ingram will miss this game. I think it's the second game that Alvarado's missed, and I think it's the third game that Brandon Ingram's missed, something like that. So the Pelicans, 1 day's rest. It's the 3rd straight home game for them. They're coming off that 7-point win as a 2-point dog against the Milwaukee Bucks on Thursday night. And this team is also 7-3 straight up, 6-4 against the spread in their last 10 games. They're also 7-3 straight up, 6-4 against the spread without Brandon Ingram in their lineup also. And 5-3 straight up, 4-4 against the spread without Brandon Ingram, but with Zion Williamson. So I know Brandon Ingram had missed some games that Zion Williams had also missed. So I wanted to go in and just make sure, I had those numbers right. This is the interesting trend, though. And I'll get into the X's and O's in a second. But here's another interesting trend. So Jose Alvarado has missed 22 games so far this season, and they're 11-11 straight up with Jose Alvarado out of the lineup. They're 13-8-1 with Jose Alvarado out of the lineup. But when Jose Alvarado plays, the New Orleans Pelicans are actually 34-17 straight up. So they play much better with Jose Alvarado in the lineup, 27-23 against the spread when he's in. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting and worth noting. 11-11 straight up without him, but 34-17 with them. So they're 50, just an average ball club without Jose Alvarado, but they're winning, double the amount of games than when he does play. So from a head-to-head perspective, you do get a revenge spot here for the Pelicans. They lost 118-112 in Boston back on January the 29th. We were on the Pelicans in that spot. If you guys remember that game, they were 8-point dogs and lost the game by 6. The game did go under the 233, and now you see a total that's 10 points lower than that, all the way down to 223 now. So I'll talk a little bit about the total, but when I went through this game and I was looking at it from an X's and O's perspective, it says that the Pelicans should cover the spread here. I don't like the idea of fading Boston after they've lost 2 straight games, but I did mention this yesterday. I think Boston's going to take their foot off the gas just a tad bit to end the season. I think that they'll be motivated to win the game. I don't know if they'll be motivated to win the game by 3 possessions. And 6 points it means if you take the +6, means you do get 3 possessions. So let's talk about it from an X's and O's perspective. Last 2 weeks, Boston has been they still the best offensive team, number 1 in offensive efficiency. They're not turning the ball over. They're top 6 in offensive rebound percentage, and they're the 5th best net rated team as well. You look at the Pels, they've been a really solid defensive team. They're number 6 in defensive efficiency, not giving up a ton of offensive rebounds. They're 6th in that department, and they're 8th in net rating. So these are 2 really good teams, as you guys probably know already. You look at the Pels offense, which has been middle of the pack. They're 15th in offensive efficiency and bottom 6 in grabbing offensive rebounds. And Boston's defense is 21st in defensive efficiency, 24th in opponent effective field goal percentage, and they're bottom 10. They're 21st in opponent rebound percentage. So we talked about this yesterday when we were talking about the Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks game. They're just giving up a ton of offensive rebounds, and to me, that goes into just the lack of effort. Like Boston really just taking their foot up off the gas right now. And if the Pelicans can rebound the basketball, I think they absolutely got a chance in this game. Boston has been they've been good in the half court. They're number 2 in half court points per play, but New Orleans is number 6 in that department. They're not allowing a lot of points in the half court. And Boston isn't really running the fast break. They're 25th in frequency, which means that they're pushing the pace at the 5th slowest rate, but they are 4th in points scored. So you get a Boston team that's not really running a lot, but they are scoring. New Orleans, top 8 in both of those categories. So they're doing a good job of slowing teams down for running the fast break, and they're doing a good job of when teams do run the fast break, not giving up a ton of points there. Now, here's the advantage that I see in all of this. It's the Pels offense. And then we know if Boston is making 3-pointers, like they could blow anybody out. But the Pels offense has actually been they got some advantages. The major advantage, one of them is in the paint. Over the last 2 weeks, the Pelicans have really been putting a lot of pressure on the rim. They're 4th in frequency at getting to the paint, 5th in accuracy. So they're making those shots when they get down there. And you get a Boston team that's just 21st in opponent frequency in the paint, and they're 2nd worst in opponent paint frequency. So Boston is not doing a good job of stopping teams from getting to the paint, but they are doing a better job of slowing teams down once they get there. The other advantage that I found for the Pelicans is that they have a major advantage in mid-range frequency. They're 6th in frequency there, 6th in mid-range frequency, and 2nd in accuracy. So a lot of their points either coming from right at the paint or right in the mid-range. And Boston is 25th in frequency, so giving that shot up a lot, and 28th in accuracy. So the Pelicans offense should be able to score against this Boston Celtics defense is what the numbers say. New Orleans also been getting out in transition, 11th in frequency, 5th in points scored per 100 possessions in transition. And Boston has been limiting teams. They've been limiting teams to the 5th fewest transition opportunities. But when teams get out and run, they are scoring on Boston. Boston actually bottom 10 in points allowed via the transition basket. So all in all, I think it's Pels +6 or nothing for me. I did look into some trends as well, some more trends. The Pels are 4-1 against the spread when they're a home dog getting 2 points or more. Of course, this is the biggest spread that, the biggest home dog spread that they've had to face so far this season, which makes sense because you got Boston on the opposite side. So it'd be Pels team total over the 109.5 for me, or the Pels +6. I'm not looking towards Boston. Maybe I think that they could potentially win the game, but they won by 8 points at home. I'm sorry, they won by 6 points at home. I'm not going to trust them to win by margin on the road. The only reason I didn't quite get involved is because I still kind of feel like I want to see a little bit more of this Pelicans team without Brandon Ingram. The offense is not going to be as efficient, so that team total I just talked about could be, a tad bit too high at 109.5. But to me, the books feel like they have this one set properly. The total at 223.5 makes a ton of sense. But I just see both teams being able to get out and run. And I'm not sure how much Boston cares about playing defense. I feel like if Atlanta can score that many points, the Pelicans should be able to as well. That's how I kind of feel. And Atlanta did go over their team total in both games. And a lot of it was because they did a great job of offensive rebound and hitting a bunch of threes. And the Pelicans can get hot from three as well. CJ McCollum, they still got, Herb Jones who can knock a couple down. You still got Trey Murphy. So yeah, I think a little bit more towards the Pelicans team total over, just because I'm not sure how engaged the Boston Celtics are going to be defensively. So those are my thoughts on the first game. I'm interested to see how you guys are thinking. Let's go to the chat real quick. Jay Chip says, "Damn, Phoenix son, shaking my head, man. When someone shows you who they are, believe them." And I agree with this, Jay Chip. I can't get Phoenix right, bro. It's really, really frustrating because I faded them against Denver. They come out look like world beaters. And then I back them against the SGA list, Oklahoma City Thunder, and they never show up in the game at all. So, like I said, Phoenix going on the shelf. I'm not betting them for probably the rest of the season, if I'm being honest with you guys. Prolific says, "What's up, Chris? Things been very frustrating lately. Hit the like button for our boy and what he offers every day. Appreciate that, Prolific." He says, "About to start telling Kyle's crazy picks." I was talking to Kyle. I'm going to be on with Kyle at 3 p.m. Eastern today as well, breaking down the NBA card as well. Maybe I'll have some prop looks there. Jaquan Lewis, appreciate you for joining and becoming a member, man. Hopefully we can give out some winners. And yeah, we can cash some tickets. Brian, my guy, he says, "Morning, Chris. A lot of unders cashing in live bets situations, maybe today in Orlando." We're going to get to that game in just a second, Brian. I got some thoughts on that game. What's up, Free Sauce? Frankie Rosero. Appreciate you for tapping in as well. He says, "What we looking at today?" BG Platinum says, "Books got me yesterday. Need that Lake back today." And I would agree. Like I said, just 1 and 2 day for me as well. Only thing that went right yesterday for me personally was Josh Giddey points. What's up, Peasy? Free Sauce says, "And Jalen Green cash." He did cash last night. I watched that game. Andrew reminding people to hit the like button. He says it's free. Appreciate that. Brian says, "Yeah, Golden State very frustrating. Almost blew my money line first half with them." Yeah, I think, Klay Thompson was a late scratch with the knee tendonitis or soreness or inflammation, whatever he was having. And of course, that contributed because if you watch the game, Charlotte just went to a zone. They dared Golden State to make shots, and they couldn't really make them, which is why they didn't score in the first half. And we probably, in retrospect, should have took the first quarter too. Should have took the first quarter. If the first quarter didn't cash, should have took the first half. Then I told you guys if they didn't cover the first half, I was going to take the full game, and I still didn't take it. Before you blink your eyes in the third quarter, they up 18 points. So, like I said, it's the right side, man. We just lost yesterday. Chad says, "Bizarre NBA yesterday happens on to the next," and that's how you got to look at it, Chad. You're long-term sports bettor. You got to remember this long-term, and we're up long-term for the season. We've been cashing. DMP says everybody ran to the window to bet Phoenix with no SGA. Crazy, Chris. I know I did. I bet them twice on the show live. Yeah, you guys go back and rewind it. I did. Chad likes the Pelicans here. Frank says no star, no play. Oldest trick in the book. Yeah, I thought if Houston could beat them, then Phoenix could beat them. And Phoenix got a difficult schedule. Remember, we talked about it. Double revenge spot yesterday. You know what? Don't get me started on Phoenix, man. Chad says Boston first half team total under 59.5 is what he's looking at here. Free Sauce says CJ McCollum over 21.5 points if you can find it. Makes sense with no Brandon Ingram. Brian says Boston playing with that closing lineup on defense. Can't trust them late. And I would agree there. Like I said, I think they're just taking their foot off the gas, man. Free Sauce says he likes Derek White over his points plus assists. Top 2 first half teams, Jigga Man for real says. That's a fact. I was thinking about first half and how I would play this one. We know Boston has been the best first half team, and the Pelicans been the second best first half team. I think, with a short line, I can see the Boston Celtics potentially covering here because that's when they play their best basketball. But then maybe the Pelicans get them late because neither one of these teams play great in the second half. These are one of the worst second half teams in the NBA as well. So I think the Pelicans going to come to play, though. Jeremy says he likes the under 223 here. DMP says, I think Atlanta had the Celtics number. Major bounce back spot. Celtics blow the Pels doors off the hinges and get back right. That could potentially happen as well, DMP, and that's why I'm not playing the game. What's up, Mo Money? Brian says, in the last few years, Boston owns the head-to-head. What's the record? Let's see. I can pull that up real quick. Let's get to that real quick. So head-to-head, I don't think it's anything too crazy. I would have wrote it down. Yeah, it is. Actually, 7-3 straight up. 6-4 against the number are the Boston Celtics in the last 10 meetings between the two teams. Boston has covered 4 of the last 5 spreads, but the Pelicans got them in their last game. But this Pelicans team is a lot better this year than Boston than they have been, I would say, especially with a healthy Zion Williamson, as much as he's been able to stay healthy. But shit, Boston is too. We haven't seen Boston be this good in a while. Joe said I ladder Porzingis threes as a sprinkle. I could definitely see that. It should be a game where Larry Nance Jr. has to play a lot because I can't imagine trying to stick Valanciunas out there on Porzingis. I could see this, Mo, definitely. Burns, my guy, he says the line movement in the Suns game was very weird. If you notice when they ruled SGJ out, the line never moved. I saw this as well. Books knew the Suns would come out flat, which is crazy to me. Like I said, I don't want to talk about it. Derek says McCollum over his 4.5 assists. He's averaging 6.5 without McCollum. I mean, without Ingram. Zachariah says NBA been unbettable for me. TJ says CJ McCollum over his over 4.5 in the first quarter. Luis says he got the Celtics -5 in his pocket from last night. Remy says, what up, though? Joined the member last night, made it back off that under 110.5. Well worth the membership to me. Appreciate that, Remy. Yeah, I wish I would have gave out more winners, though. What's the over first half? I'm not sure what the question is here, Tucker. I wanted to back OKC so bad, but I got scared off. I wouldn't have backed them last night. I thought that OKC would have not had enough last night. But, you know, Phoenix, I'm going to fade them in the playoffs. That's when I will fade them. Let's just keep it at that. Everybody seemed like they lost some money yesterday messing around with Phoenix, man. Let's go to the next game. We got the Memphis Grizzlies. They'll be I'm not sure why this is a picture of a New York Knicks. They're not playing the Knicks. They're playing the Magic. So this should be a Magic emblem right here. My fault. I definitely put the wrong graphic up. But we got the Orlando Magic at home, laying 13 points against this Memphis Grizzlies team. John Conchar for Memphis is out, listed as doubtful. So is Santi Aldama. You got Desmond Bane already ruled out. And looks like Luke Kennard is listed as probable. He's probably going to play in this game. So this is an interesting spot because you get a team laying 13 points that's on the second leg of a back-to-back versus a well-rested Memphis Grizzlies team. Memphis actually has 2 days of rest. So 2 days of rest versus 0, but they're catching 13 points. That doesn't make a ton of sense, right? And I'll tell you guys what the numbers look like specifically in that spot in just a second. So Memphis, they have been profitable on the road, 21-16. On the road so far this season. They are just 5-6 against the spread as double-digit road favorites, so not as profitable when they're getting double digits. They're losing by average of 17 points per game in this spot as well. Double-digit road dogs, losing by average of 17 points. Now the Orlando Magic been killing my pockets as well. It's the second leg of, now granted we got a push yesterday if you got the +3 on Caesars, but they're on the second leg of a back-to-back. This is the seventh straight home game for the Orlando Magic as well. They're 5-5 straight up in their last 5, 0-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 3. So they haven't been covering numbers. They haven't been winning games. 3 back-to-back losses, all 3 Western Conference opponents as well. They got smoked. Well, they lost to the Kings, lost to the Warriors, and had days off in between. Then, of course, lose to the Clippers last night. Their offense has really fallen off a cliff, man. This Orlando Magic team just not been able to score the basketball. I think while they've been playing really good defense, they just really been struggling to score the basketball. So, and that's the reason why they're 0-3 straight up and against the spread. Now, this should be music to your ears when you get the Memphis Grizzlies coming into town because their defense has not been nearly as good as the Golden State Warriors, the Sacramento Kings, or in that matter, even the Los Angeles Clippers, who really haven't been that great defensively either. From a head-to-head perspective, the Magic did find a way to cover in that last one. We were on Memphis. I remember being on Orlando in that game. I think it was like -4.5. They only won by 1 point. They beat them 107-106. So they didn't cover that 6-point spread. And that game did go, I think it went over the total. I think it was 212.5, and they went over by 1 point. So as far as this game goes, 13 is a big number to lay. But if you're telling me that Memphis is only going to have Luke Kennard and Gigi Jackson and Jared Jackson Jr., I don't know if that's enough offensive firepower. It's a couple different ways I feel like you can play this game. Like I said, I think Orlando's offense probably steps up in this one. I think they got an advantage there. But let's talk about the total a little bit, and then I'll get to the X's and O's and give you guys the top play, at least from my opinion. So Memphis is 8-3 to the over as double-digit road dogs. So typically their defense can't stop the opponent's offense at all in this spot. they're allowing exactly 120 points. Only 3 of the Memphis Grizzlies opponents have actually stayed under their team total. All other 8 have actually gone over their team total in this spot. So that says a look towards Orlando's team total over. I also looked at the trend that I told you guys about. So double-digit home favorites playing on 0 days rest versus an opponent that has 2 days of rest, 28, 19, and 2 to the over. So that's about 60%. 59.6% says to play the over. The problem is, do you trust Memphis to be able to score enough points to be able to get this one up and over the total? I can't say that I do trust Memphis to score that many points, especially with how good this Orlando's defense has been, even though they've been struggling to score the ball. You also get an Orlando team that's 8-2 to the under in their last 10. So a lot of trends point towards the over. But if you look at the Magic's defense, the Magic's offense hasn't really been scoring the ball, and their defense has really been suffocating their opponents, even though they haven't been able to score. So from an X's and O's perspective, Orlando, they have been getting to the rim a ton. And they should be able to take advantage of a Memphis team that allows the second most rim frequencies over the last 2 weeks, and they're also they're top 5 in rim accuracy. So that's where Orlando has been, like scoring a lot of points. If you had a chance to watch the game last night against the Clippers, you saw Zubac did a really good job of like boxing out, like limiting his opponents. So I don't know. Jared Jackson Jr. alone is not going to be enough, in my opinion. I think Orlando also has an advantage from the three-point line. They've been shooting a ton of corner threes. They're number 1 in frequency over the last 2 weeks, only 25th in accuracy. But they get a Memphis team that's actually 28th in opponent three-point accuracy. So they should be able to knock down some corner threes. We talked about Jalen Suggs yesterday. He cashed his points prop, was able to knock down a couple threes. Houston knocked down a couple threes, and they should get Markelle Fultz back, who missed yesterday. So Magic, like I said, they've been shooting a ton of threes. They're actually number 1 in above the break 3 frequency, number 8 in accuracy. I'm sorry, not Orlando. Memphis has been shooting a ton of above the break threes. They're number 3 in frequency, number 8 in accuracy. But Orlando's actually top 12 in both of those categories. So I think this should be a game that Orlando this should be like what the doctor ordered for Orlando. They've been playing against really good defensive teams. 3 straight losses. Now you get a 27 rated defensive team in the Memphis Grizzlies over the last 2 weeks that's given up the second most offensive rebounds. When you're a great rebounding team, to me, this screams like Orlando first quarter, first half, and probably a trifecta spot. And if you think that Memphis is going to be able to keep up, I think Orlando's team total is absolutely in place as well. It's 109.5 on Bet365. I think that'd be the way I look. So one thing I looked at was in the 7 times that Orlando has actually been a double-digit home favorite, they've actually scored 110 points or more every single game. So for whatever reason, when they're projected to win by double digits, they're typically playing against a team that's not playing a lot of defense, and they have been taking advantage of these bottom tier teams as well. So Memphis team total over 109.5. I'm sorry, not Memphis. Orlando's team total over 109.5. Orlando first quarter and Orlando first half. And I think full game. I think this is a get right spot. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. I know that was pretty long of a breakdown, but I really wanted to, take my time and do my due diligence in this one. Owen says, I'm new here. What's up? Got crushed last night. Same, Owen. You and me both, man. 1, 2, and 1. Let's see. Chris said, Pimp Highway says, Chris, they keep bringing up Phoenix last night. I don't want to talk about it or hear about it. Phoenix is terrible. Yeah, we're done with Phoenix, man. Please don't say that. Don't mention their name on the show, man. I'm gonna try my best not to, especially when they're not playing today. Frankie says that's why the spread is so big. Polo says Memphis money line after the Spurs won. I can't do it. I definitely can't do it. Don says 4 threes for Bane. Bane's not playing tonight, Don. He's out. T Money says Orlando's lost 3 straight home games. What up to my guy? ChrisBeCappinn in the chat. DMP says seems like Orlando cannot play Western Conference teams. Chris, can you look that up? What's the Magic's record against the spread against the Western teams this year? I think the Magic have played them better on the road, and I think when you look at Orlando, I'll look it up, but I think when you look at Orlando specifically, They play against the good teams typically well. I just think they're going through a rut right now where they haven't been able to score. But yeah, so Orlando, when they're playing against a non-conference opponent, they are the Magic are 12-14 straight up, 16-10 against the spread when they're playing against a non-conference opponent. They had actually won a lot of games in a row before they lost the last 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had actually won 7 of their last. They had covered 7 of their last 8 in a row before that. So I think it's more so just like it's just their offense, man. Like I said, they haven't been able to score. They scored 107 points against the Kings, 93 points against the Warriors, and then 97 points against the Clippers. You gotta they're not giving up a ton of points. They actually held the Clippers and the Warriors under their team total, even though they lost both of those games. So, like I said, it's really just their offense. UCapper says, "Hey, this is supposed to be the Magic, right?" Yeah, I messed up the graphic. I see. That's all, bro. It's supposed to be the Magic right there where you see that Knicks sign at. That's definitely messed it up. Brian says Orlando fourth quarter, they seem to always slow the pace in close games. I would agree there. Oscar says, don't forget Orlando coming off of back-to-back. Yeah, I looked into that as well. Orlando, they're not terrible in the back-to-back. They're not great either. 4-9 straight up, 7-6 against the spread. And I want to say if they were favorites in that spot, then they did well. So they've been favorites twice on the second leg of a back-to-back. They laid 7 against the Wizards and won that game by 10. And they laid 3.5 against the Knicks and won that game by 18. So it's not necessarily the worst spot as far as the back-to-back. They did lose to the Sixers, but that was at the beginning, right after Christmas. And the Sixers had Embiid. So yeah, I don't think that's necessarily too much to take into consideration. I think if they would have won last night, Oscar, I'd be looking to fade them and take the Grizzlies in this spot. But off back to 3 losses in a row. Remember, I said this at the top: 3 losses in a row, 7 straight home game, and they got one more home game on deck as well. I think it's got to be Orlando spot. Real DJ X says hit the like button. Brian says Orlando should have the advantages on the boards and second chance points, and I agree. Need some sleep says, hey, new member here. Saw you on J Money Show. Appreciate you for joining. Need some sleep. UCapper says he took Magic first half and the first half under, and this is what I like to hear. I was leaning first half against the spread, RC. So I'm glad you got there. Probably gonna end up getting there as well. It should be a spot where Orlando can get right early in this game. They should get a ton of offensive rebounds. They should dominate the boards. They should be able to really slow this Memphis team down. It's really shooting a bunch of threes, and I don't anticipate the Grizzlies being able to knock those threes down. And I think you get a super motivated Memphis team. A super motivated Orlando team. Coming off 3 straight losses. So probably want to hurry up and play this game to get that bad taste out of their mouth of not being able to win yesterday. So I could only agree with that. Orlando first half. I'm actually probably thinking about the first quarter as well. First quarter, first half. But we'll see. I got signed out of my OddsJam account. So real quick, I'm gonna sign back in and see where I can get the best first half number real quick. 905-465. 905. Real quick, just give me a second. I didn't even write this down, but I knew it was only Orlando or nothing for me in this game. I'm not looking towards Memphis, especially without Desmond Bane. So first half, Orlando is minus 7.5, and it's juice too. So books do kind of anticipate, that they get the job done early. I see a minus 115 on BetMGM. It looks like it's the best number. Yes, minus 120, minus 118 everywhere else. So minus 115 on BetMGM, minus 115 on Bet365 there. I like it. I see. Free Sauce says Gigi Jackson under 5.5 rebounds. John says, what's up with Ja? He done for the season? Yeah, he been done for the season, John. Yeah, he been done for the season. Brian says, I like the Magic first half and the first half under. Burns says Magic will cover tonight. Later points. I like it. I like it, Burns. PZ says he took the Grizzlies plus 13. Thank him later. Okay. Opposite side there. And David says ChrisBeCappinn of House NBA Cappers. Happy Saturday, my brother. Vibes are high today. I need the vibes, David. I need them, bro. Appreciate you for being here, man. As always. And RL says Orlando laid an egg 2 days in a row for me. Can't get there with them. And this will probably be the time that you probably should, RL. But we'll see how it goes, man. All right, let's keep it pushing. We got one more game on the board. And that is this Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks game. So the line already moving down. I should have probably handicapped it last night and took the 5, but I do like Atlanta in this spot. I think it's a game that Atlanta can actually win. I know the Bucks are coming off a game where they lost, but I can't trust them on the road. So I want to tell you, I didn't get a chance to write my notes down, but I did go through and look at them. I think Atlanta has some matchup advantages here, specifically on the offensive side of the basketball. So we're going to jump into it real quick. Let me just get my numbers up. All right. So looking at this game, you get a Bucks team that's going to be without Damian Lillard. He's already been ruled out. 1 day's rest. This is the second game of a 3-game homestand. The only thing that you don't like is that they are coming off the overtime game, against the Boston Celtics. But this team they've been good, man. I'm sorry. Let's talk about Milwaukee first. So second of a 3-game road trip for Milwaukee. Of course, they just lost to the Pelicans. And they're just 15-21 against the spread on the road. So they haven't been profitable laying points. They're 12-16 against the spread as a road favorite. And I looked into it. Without Dame on the floor, Milwaukee's actually a minus 6.4 in efficiency. So that's offensive and defensive efficiency without Dame on the floor. And they have a defensive rating of 121.5. Now, granted, we know Dame's not the greatest defender, but they really don't play defense without Damian Lillard. So all of those things already had me leaning towards Atlanta. And I get Atlanta wrong. I think the last time I bet them, they were in Utah, and I thought that they should have won that game, and they lost the game outright. Then they, of course, or it might have been Portland. It might have been the Portland game. And then, of course, they go on like a 3-game winning streak. So they're another team that I can't seem to get right. I typically don't bet on Atlanta games, but they're doing some things that I think they have been doing some things that I think can show up in this game here. The big thing is, before we get into, what they're doing, the X's and O's, Jalen Johnson is listed as questionable to return. That's a big, big boost, right? I've given you, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I've been talking about that for a really long time. Jalen Johnson is, I forgot, I didn't write the number down, but I can look it up real quick. Hawks with Jalen Johnson in, they've been a totally different team. They are, not that great. 25-26 straight up, 20-31 against the spread. But without them, I know they were not nearly as good. They were, let's see, it might help if without Jalen Johnson this season, just 7-15 against the spread, 9-13 straight up, losing. They're still only losing by a point per contest. But with Jalen Johnson in, they're just a much better team, man. He's a really good rebounder. He can score the ball, and they'll need that as well, in my opinion. So Atlanta, last of a 5-game homestand, 4 straight wins and 4 straight covers for this Atlanta team. And on the season series, they're 1-1. If you guys remember, for the people that's been with me for the season, we did take Atlanta in that first game because they went to Milwaukee. Milwaukee was on the first leg of a back-to-back, and they had the Miami Heat. And we know that was a revenge spot that they probably had circled. So we did cash with Atlanta in this spot earlier this season. That game was in Milwaukee. Milwaukee got their revenge. They beat them in Milwaukee. And now you have the third matchup of the season. So looking at this, from an offensive perspective for Atlanta, which is where I like this game. Atlanta is the number 3 offense as far as offensive efficiency over the last 2 weeks. They're the 3rd best effective field goal percentage shooting team as well. And this was a big, big point. The 3rd best offensive rebounding team. They're really playing. And this is what we saw with Boston the other day, just 2 nights ago. They're crashing the board. So all they're doing is shooting a bunch of threes. They're ninth in corner three frequency, sixth and above the break three frequency. So all they're doing is shooting a bunch of threes. And I think that if they don't make them, they should be able to grab the rebounds here because the Bucks are on the bottom half of the league as far as giving up those offensive rebounds. And the Bucks also not forcing a lot of turnovers. So Atlanta does a really good job of, taking care of basketball in the first place. So looking at Milwaukee's offense, they haven't been too great, but not too bad either. They're not getting to the free throw line, even with Giannis out there. They're not getting a ton of offensive rebounds, which is great because Atlanta is limiting teams from second chance opportunities as well. And Atlanta's defense hasn't been great. They're bottom 6 pretty much in both opponent effective field goal percentage and points allowed per 100 possessions over the past 2 weeks. But I think that they'll be able to score in this game. I think if you can do it against Boston in back-to-back games, I think you could do it against this Milwaukee Bucks defense as well. So I already gave you guys the numbers where they're shooting the ball at. They're actually number 3 in corner 3 accuracy, number 5 in above the break 3 accuracy, and number 4 overall in 3-point accuracy over the last 2 weeks. Now, granted, the Bucks defense has been solid against the 3-point line. They are 7th in opponent accuracy from the corner 3, 9th in 3-point accuracy from the above the break 3, and 5th overall. But we see them get lit up. The Lakers just did it to them. And I think that, being at home, another straight home game, I think that they'll be able to score here. Also, Atlanta may be able to get out in transition. They are 2nd in points scored in transition over the last 2 weeks, 14th in frequency. And the Bucks defense, just on the second, on the top of the back half of the league, they're 16th in points allowed per 100 possessions out in transition as well. So I like the advantages for Atlanta here, man. I don't think the Bucks are going to be able to really slow this team down. And if you look at the Bucks offense, they can really, really struggle to score as well at certain times because, they got guys that really just want to shoot a bunch of threes. So if we flip it real quick before we get out of here and I go through the comments, if we flip it and look at the Bucks offense versus this Atlanta defense, then the one advantage that the Bucks do have is the long mid-range shot, which I'm thinking that Dame shoots that shot a lot. They are number 1 in frequency, number 4 in accuracy. And Atlanta's been letting teams make that shot. They're 21st in opponent long mid-range accuracy. But outside of that, I think the Bucks, they've been shooting a ton of threes. A lot of that comes with Dame. I don't necessarily think that their 3-point shooting is going to be that bad. I don't think that the Bucks are going to shoot the 3 that well without Damian Lillard, is what I'm trying to say. So they will shoot a ton of them. They're not, trying to get to the rim at all. They're actually second fewest attempts in the paint and 5th fewest at the rim. So I like the spot here for Atlanta. I don't know if I want to take the team total over or if I want to take the spread. I feel like losing a point on the spread already. I may just get there with the team total over for Atlanta versus taking the spread. I think this is going to be a more of a high scoring game, even though Damian Lillard isn't out there for the Bucks. I don't really want to trust Atlanta's defense because it hasn't looked great recently. So I'm thinking team total over for Atlanta more than taking the 4 points. But I do think that they can keep the game within a possession as well. Let's see what you guys are thinking in this one real quick while I pull up that team total. I feel like I had it written down already. 109.5 is the team total. Looks like the best line is over on Bet Rivers right now. I do think Atlanta scores 110 points. Let's see what you guys think about this one. Let's see. Peasy says Hawks +5 in his pocket. Splash says Bucks on the money line. You land a hefty price there. Derek says hopefully Jalen Johnson comes back tonight. I'm hopeful that he does too. Free Sauce says, I told y'all the other day, Ramadan Kyrie, trade deadline D-Lo. No trade DeJounte. Baby on the way, Jalen Green. Don't bet against them. You did mention this, Free Sauce, and them boys they all been hooping, man. Pimp Highway says DeJounte should get a triple-double, right? I'm not sure about the triple-double, but he should eat. I do think that he could eat in this game. He's been cooking. 44 shots and 44 points in that last game. Derek says Bucks 0-5 straight up without Damian Lillard this year. I didn't even look into that, but that's a hell of a trend. DMP says I'm taking the 3-team parlay. Boston -6.5, Memphis +13.5, Milwaukee -3.5. So all looks that I would probably be on the opposite side of. One unit, let's go. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Frankie says, I'm on the Hawks today, man. Bucks are playing like the Suns, volatile. That's a fact. They definitely are. Derek says, I'm on the Hawks. No Dame has me thinking Murray may not follow up on that monster game versus Boston with another one. Vaughn like Clint Capella double-double at -105. He says he has 5 straight double-doubles and 10 of his last 11. Double-double in both matchups earlier this season. Double-double in 9 of his last 12 career games versus the Bucks. This is good research there. You did your homework, Vaughn. Best of luck, man. I hope you cash that Clint Capella double-double. And I think Onyeka Okongwu is out, so that makes a ton of sense as well. Free Sauce says Giannis under a half a 3. What else should I think? Mr. Aiden Man says the over 223 is the call. I like the over 2. I do like the over, but maybe a look towards Atlanta team total over, maybe full game over. I haven't played this game, if I'm being honest with you guys, but I do like the Hawks. DMP says I don't Milwaukee losing 3 straight or Boston either. I don't see, I think is what he means. I don't know if they win, but I think that they can keep it close for sure. Atlanta always involved in a lot of close games, similar to the Bulls. Owen says Malik Beasley over his points, rebounds, and assists. What about that? I didn't look into it, Owen. I would need to go in and look into it. But, I mean, he should get a lot of opportunities. He's got to make them. He got to knock them down. Maybe a look towards Giannis assists as well. If you think that some of those guys are going to be knocking those shots down. Atlanta hasn't been the greatest defensive team. They've just been able to score. They're shooting the ball at an elite rate right now, as far as from the three-point line. So Giannis assists should absolutely be in play as well, especially with him having the ball in his hand just a tad bit more with no Damian Lillard. Mr. Ain't got a little cross parlay, little multi-sports. He likes the Celtics, the Magic, and the Dodgers. And Free Sauce also said, I'm expecting some Bobby Portis action tonight, but the books don't got him up yet. They know. That's a fact. That's a fact. The offense going to have to come from somewhere. Robert Bruce says Hawks coming off back-to-back wins versus Boston. I think Milwaukee can cover. Potentially. Yeah, they definitely can. Brian says Atlanta +4. Milwaukee actually can't trust either of these teams. Got to be a high spot. And Alexander says the Hawks money line, the only play in my opinion. They're going for five in a row straight up and against the spread. Spread moving in favor of the Hawks too. Trying to put y'all on. And I would agree. I think it's Hawks plus the 4, nothing for me. Need some sleep, likes Chris Middleton over his points, rebounds, and assists. Pimp Highway says, what do you think of women's college hoops today, Chris? I like all of the faves. Good, close, exciting games. No opinion for me at all, Pimp. I might watch some of them, but I don't bet women's college hoops. Let's see. Capper says, you may have mentioned this. The Bucks haven't won or covered without Dame. Yep, 0-5. Somebody else gave that trend out. RC, and they're -6.1 in net rating as well without him on the floor. Jared says team total plays for this game. What do you think? It's Hawks team total over for me because I don't trust them defensively. So I think even if the Bucks score, I think the Hawks will be able to score as well. So it's team total over for me. I told you guys the other day when they was playing against the Pelicans on Thursday, I couldn't trust them defensively. And the defense actually showed up, but they couldn't score the ball. And without Dame, they still might not be able to score the ball. I just can't trust the Hawks to be able to get stops. The Hawks defense is still bad. They are 24th in points in offensive efficiency are the Hawks. In defensive efficiency, I'm sorry. Giving up about 119 points per game over the last 2 weeks. This pollen got my nose running. Let's see. Burns says this game is extremely tough. I can see it going either way. DMP says, my bad, Chris. Didn't know Dame was out, bro. I'm on Milwaukee first half now with the same parlay. Okay. Best of luck. Oscar says, no Lillard. Patrick Beverly should be annoying for Murray. He's going to try his best for sure. Free Sauce says, 0-5. Nah, I'm taking the Hawks. And Capper says, any worry about the fatigue spot for the Hawks? I think I would have been a little bit more worried, RC, if it was like a travel spot. But I think 5th straight home game, to me, gives me a little bit less concern. I think it could be a fatigue spot for Milwaukee as well, though. Both of these teams, Milwaukee's the team that had to travel. I know that they had to go to they had to go to overtime, but I think they should be able to keep it close. And that's why I like the over a little bit more. I think even if nothing else, the Hawks are going to try to get out, run, shoot a bunch of threes. Bogdanovich, who else they got? They got a bunch of just 3-point shooters. DeAndre Hunter. I think that's why I like the over a little bit more. So fatigue set in. I think it could be a over spot. Hawks team total over a little bit more than the full game over. I think though. I got to look a little deeper into it, but yeah, I'll look a little bit deeper. What are your thoughts, RC? Let me know what you think, man. As we get ready to do a recap. So going back to the top, that Orlando team total, I told you guys they are, what did I say? 7-0 to their team total over when they are, 7-0 to the over when they're double-digit favorites this season. The only hesitation is that will Memphis be able to keep up, because Orlando could win this game 105 to like 85, honestly, too. So I know I mentioned first half as well. You guys see the first quarter, first half down there on the considering list. I haven't placed any of these, but this is what I was feeling before I started the show. Atlanta plus the 4.5. I think the 4.5 might be gone now. Is this down to 4? Yeah, it's some 4.5, but it's also a 3.5 out there as well. Either way, I think the 4.5. I think they're both good money. I don't like that I missed the 5 though. 5 was the best number. Let me just double check it real quick as far as point spread for the Atlanta game. No 4.5s. All the 4.5s gone. You got to get a +4 for the Bucks. I mean, for Atlanta, if you want to take the +4. Real quick, let's go back to the chat. Let's see. DMP says, is Boosie and Quavo gonna be there? Hawks win. Boosie show out at this on this. Boosie is it's crazy because he always at the Atlanta games and never at the Pelicans game. But I did see a quote that said that they wouldn't even give him like front row seats and tried to like shortchange him. So I guess that's why he don't go to the Pelicans game, even though he's from Louisiana. Alexander says, I'm not playing the other 2 NBA games, but I like the Pels money line. Public jumping all over the Celtics money line. Don't trust the -220 to -300 lines. I have to lean Magic -13.5 because the Grizzlies ain't it, but Magic's young, so I don't know. Brian says first quarter over. I think they come out hot. What's the number? I could definitely see this as well. First quarter total points. I can pull that up real quick. It is 57.5 between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. Brian, I could definitely see this going over the first quarter total. I like that look. Capper says, yeah, Hawks haven't been good on 3 and 4 or 4 and 6. That's my only hesitation, but can't look towards the Bucks without Dame, and I would agree. Bryce got a query right here. This is after the All-Star break, road favorites who previously lost as a road favorite, and their opponent previously won, and their opponent previously won again. So, and the line is less than, they need to win the game by less than 10, and their rest equals their opponent rest, and their rest equals 1. God damn, that's a lot, right? So let me read this out. So after the All-Star break, you're looking at a road favorite that lost as a road favorite, and their opponent is coming off back-to-back wins, and they're less than a 10-point favorite, and their rest equals their opponent rest, and that rest equals 1. So both teams on 1 day's rest. 24-4 straight up, 21-5 says that the Bucks win and cover this game today, based on this spot right here, Bryce looking at. So after the All-Star break, in general, this goes back to 1996. After the All-Star break, road favorites who lost their last game as a road favorite facing a team that's on a 2-game winning streak, needing to win the game by less than 10 on 1 day's rest. That's a strong trend that says the Bucks. Super strong trend that says the Bucks. It also says the under, but I don't think I could get there with this one. Don't think I could get there. Steven says Magic have lost their last 4 first quarters, but because they're playing against the Grizzlies, I can look at Magic. I agree. Capper says Bucks 3 and 4 against the spread, 8-1 to the under as road dogs, but they're road favorites though. RC. You probably meant favorites. Bucks are 3-6. What was that number again? I see 3-6 against the spread, 8-1 to the under as road dogs, but they're not road dogs. 8-1 to the under as road dogs. Yeah, but they're road favorites though. So they are 13-13 to the over, giving up 117 points. And their defense has actually been a little bit better. They held the Pelicans under their team total, held the Bulls under their team total, held the Hornets under their team total. But the Sixers went over, the Lakers went over, the Clippers went over. Yeah, I just think about the Hawks as an offensive team and not a defensive team, though. Hawks and home dog. The Hawks are 7-4 to the over as a home dog. They're gone over their team total. Yeah, this is much better. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 times out of 11 games, the Hawks have gone over their team total as a home dog. And 7-4 to the over in general as well. So yeah, it's Hawks team total over for me. Owen says Bet365 has an alt 4.5 spread. Man, everything DeJounte Murray over. Keep it simple. Also, Hawks plus the 4 is what Free Sauce says. Paul says he's taking the Bucks. Don't fall for the okie doke. Dame is out. Go with the Hawks. No way. Not falling for it today. Jared says Drew Holiday, slight revenge game. I forgot about that. He says points too low at 10.5. We'll take shots. Trying to get his rhythm back after missing those games. That makes a ton of sense. Free Sauce says I need to learn that SQL lingo. Yeah, I could teach you, man. Just shoot me a DM, set it up. DMP says, bro, that's the craziest trend I ever heard. That is pretty crazy. Let's see. DMP says, bro, that's the craziest trend I ever. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Jared says, I don't see the Celtics losing 3 in a row, but I definitely see the Bucks losing multiple, especially on the road. And I agree with this, Jared. I don't think that they're gonna lose, but for the Celtics, it's pretty easy, man. Are they gonna play hard and are they gonna make threes? Because that's how Atlanta beat them. They weren't playing hard. Atlanta kept getting all the offensive rebounds, and Atlanta made all their threes. And the Celtics didn't. They had a spell in there where they shot like 2 for 23 over the 2 games between the two. I need the Bucks to lose. I got the Cavs division ticket. Yeah, I know you do, RC. Nice little chunk of change on that too, man. I hope you cash it. Paul says Celtics first half, Magic, Grizzlies over, Bucks minus 3.5. Good luck. Okay. Boostum says, told you them Blazers was partying, bro. Yeah, Blazers never got off the bus yesterday. I'm so glad I kept that plus 14.5 out of my bet slip. Boy. Brian says Hawks 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 as home dogs. Under home dogs are 4.5 or under. I don't see that, Brian. I see the Hawks as 2-3 straight up, and I'm sorry, 3-2 straight up, and against the spread as home dogs in their last 3 games. They got an outright win against the Suns. And I was on the Suns in that spot. They lost to the Clippers by 5. They lost to the Pelicans by 13, but they beat the Celtics back-to-back. So that's 3-2 in the last 5 is what I see, Brian. What else y'all saying? Lakers wet the bed, but it'd be like that. Yeah, I ain't bet the Lakers game. I'm off the Lakers and I'm off the Suns. Not playing either one. In way too deep. It ain't that serious, big dog. All right, cool. All right, I'm getting out of here, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Hit the like button for me if you can. It's tough 3 games, but if I'm playing, like I said, this is what I'm looking at. We kind of live capped them on the show. Orlando, I think that they break out of that slump and start to score the ball today. They should, at least against this Memphis Grizzlies defense. I still like Atlanta as well, plus the points. And I think Orlando early would be another look as well. I'm probably staying away from that Pelicans game, but I do think the Pelicans could score. I could be totally wrong. Maybe Boston comes in and plays, some really good defense, but it's really hard for me to trust Boston right now, which I'm probably why I'm gonna stay off of their games. Will says, what up though, Chris? Giannis over 32.5 points, not gonna overthink it. I can see that. I like Giannis' assists as well. Like I said, I think Giannis should cash his assists with no Damian Lillard. He should have the ball in his hands a lot. I could see, Atlanta trying to double team him, and guys like Malik Beasley getting some open looks, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder. All the Bucks do is shoot threes. So Giannis' assist is probably a pretty good look as well. I could definitely see that. Free Sauce says, appreciate the insight. Let's eat, dog. What's up, Eric? Appreciate you for tapping in. And Alexander says, MLB is taking the Marlins money line, going against the rookie pitcher. And Brian says, great work. Let's cash tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this all over again. Like I said, I'll be on with Cal. Maybe I'll have some final plays. But this is what I was looking towards. I haven't placed any of these yet, just for full transparency. And when I do place them, they'll be sent out to the members. And the members know I haven't sent out any plays yet. So this is just what I was looking at. I'll be back on with Cal Kearns at 3 on his channel. If you guys want to check him out, definitely subscribe to his channel. He's doing some really good work and capping all the sports at the same time. He's doing NCAA tournament, MLB, NBA, all of it. So definitely check out my guy Cal as well. And I'll catch you guys at 3 p.m. if you guys are going to be there. If not, I'll be back tomorrow morning, giving out some looks as well. Have a great day, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.